Hey, welcome back to Grit Gym. It is Monday, Monday, oh my gosh, I should have known this before I got on the show. Monday the 9th. We're going through July like crazy. At the end of this month, we're going to have, in 2 weeks, so August 21st, we're going to have the Grit Gym float. You have to bring your own flotation device. You don't want it to be an inner tube. Yeah, you want to bring a canoe, kayak, paddleboard. Rach and I took off with the paddleboards and we took the route. Yesterday we found one decent sandbar and one good one. So we're gonna stake up on that one. We're gonna eat, have a couple drinks, and then we're gonna move on. It's gonna took us about 2 hours. We're gonna leave at 11, so we're gonna all meet there at 10:30. So if you want to be a part of the Grit Gym float on the 21st, you have to RSVP. There's an email going out about that here in a little bit, which means that you want to be a part of the newsletter. I do have a giveaway. I have a giveaway tomorrow, and I didn't bring them, so I'm not going to do it on the show today. But there's a giveaway tomorrow, so you want to be here for the show tomorrow. You can only get this if you're on the live tomorrow, this thing. So make sure that you're on the live tomorrow for the Rachel and Adam show. We're going to be talking about things. I don't know what our topic is yet, but I know that Rachel's on here watching right now because I just saw her name pop up. So that means I hope that you have a topic first. But today we're going to talk about the MovStong Matrix. The MovStong Matrix is it's really like I call it like something that we invented at Grit Gym, but we really didn't. We made this based off of how all the attributes that your body already has. This is how all programs are made. Whether people want to admit it or not, every program that has ever been made is made somewhere along the path of the MovStong Matrix. Like anybody who denies this is just really silly. They don't understand. It is a system that we use to evaluate our programs. It is a system we use to create our programs. It is how your body already works, and we want to capitalize upon those things. So it applies to everybody. It applies to strongman lifters, power lifters, swimmers, endurance athletes, baseball players, softball players, moms that just want to be able to pick their kids up off the floor without injuring their spine. When they're wrestle around with the kids until old age. It's for grandmas. It's for young people. It's for a geriatric population even could benefit. It's completely tailorable to every single person. And the way that it works, let's go with blue. Blue works. All right. So the way that it works is that you have the first one up here is strength, and then you have power, and then you have speed. And I'm going to show how, because the question today is, how does this work? How does the MovStong Matrix apply to endurance athletes? People that run marathons, half marathons, 5Ks, triathlons, ultra marathons, cycling, swimming, any kind of endurance activity. That's what we're going to go through. We're going to go through how the MovStong Matrix, how I would apply it to them. I'm going to break down some of the status quo barriers that keep people from using this because in the running community, people are extremely romantic. In the endurance community, they're extremely romantic to how things have always been done. And it's a little bit of a catch-22 because what actually what made them great at their sport was the enjoyment of going out for a run or going swimming or going biking for these long distance things. And what they're really good at is doing those long distance things. Humans in general are very good at that. The trouble is just like with powerlifting. Everybody always wants to go heavy, just like the runners always want to go far. But the going far is what eventually will impede you from excelling at your sport and progressing in your sport. So if you do it this way, you're going to have a much healthier time. You're going to perform better. You're going to make better progress. You're going to be healthier in the long term, meaning that you can apply this for longer periods of time. Like you can actually train longer. You can compete longer. Your body won't wear down as fast. Ask any career marathon person. Tell them to ask them if you can see their feet without their socks on. You'll be like, oh my God, what happened to your toes? These things, like the body, it takes a toll on the body. You also will not get sick 2 weeks after your event. Almost every single marathon person will get sick 2 weeks after the event. It's because the stress upon their body that was taken will suppress their immune system so far that they get sick. So anyway, these are the attributes of the body. Okay, we have strength, power, speed. We have alactic, glycolytic, and aerobic. Okay, these two don't use oxygen. This one does. This one is like the long steady state cardio. This is like what we do in metabolic. It's bring your heart rate up, rest. Heart rate up, rest. Heart rate up, rest. This is the lesser intense one. This is the more intense one. Some people call this lifting. However, I'm going to make the case later that this is not lifting. This actually needs to be considered a cardio because we are restricting. We're restricting recovery. All right. Then you have over here. You have stability, and stability needs to come first. And I'm going to make the case for why. And mobility and stiffness. And a lot of people want to say that stiffness is not an attribute of the body. Yes, it is. A lot of people want to say that it's not trainable. Yes, it is. I'm training it right now. I'm sitting down. You probably are too. Your body is constantly adapting all the time. It doesn't stop from until you die. It does not stop adapting to the to what is imposed upon it. So this is like something that is just underestimated. If you sit for a long period of time, during the time that you're sitting, your body is becoming better at sitting. If you run for long periods of time, your body is getting better at running. But there are some things that we can do in here, some ebb and flow, let's call it, that we can make it just a little bit better. We can kind of, I don't want to say hack the system, but we know that from trial and error and all these other things that we can train the body in certain ways. So how would I'm going to change colors here. How would I set this up for, we need Eric here. He's got that pretty handwriting. How would I set this up for endurance? So you got a triathlon, a triathlete, a marathon or something like that. So these are the attributes of the body. Every single program has these, and if it doesn't, it's failing. Okay, this is the thing, like with CrossFit is 100% these two. It does not get anywhere else. It is only these two. And it doesn't have these, and it doesn't have these. Okay? It's only these two. That's why it fails people, because people end up getting hurt. It's you got to think outside the box. And by the box, I mean the CrossFit box. This is very much a situation where the program didn't fail the person, or the person didn't fail the program failed them. At Grit, MovStong would be these three. Metabolic would be these three. We consider this. We want you to get your aerobic capacity if you're not training for anything specific. We want to get that by going out and having fun. Doing things that are fun, like going dancing, laughing with friends, doing things that are fun. We also get this during tune-up, and these are all tune-up also. Stiffness is more of a, we'll get into that here in a second. But how would I set this up for an endurance athlete? Well, for an endurance athlete, they're going to be doing this 2 to 3 times per week. Okay, they're going to be doing strength, power, speed, 2 to 3 times per week. Can you guys see that on there? 2 to 3 times per week for strength, power, speed. For alactic, glycolytic, O2, we're going to split this up. Okay, we're going to split this up. We're going to say that these are independent of each other. This is more like, okay, so high intensity interval training. If you've ever seen high intensity interval training just means that we're going to go really hard and then we're going to rest, really hard and then we're going to rest, really hard and then we're going to rest. Okay, that's glycolytic. Alactic is more like low intensity interval training. It's like we're going to go really hard for 10 seconds and then we're going to wait a minute and a half, and really hard for 10 seconds and then wait a minute and a half. But you're still restricting recovery, so it's in the category of cardio. Glycolytic is a little bit more intense. So these two, we need to be doing these. Let's make the 2 to 3 times per week, depending on the my bad. I wouldn't do that much. 1 to 3 times per week, depending, and it's probably going to be more like 1 to 2. All right, and then O2. How often do we need to be doing this? This is the thing that everybody misses out on. They think that they have to do this every single day, and when you're young, you probably do. When you're young, you're training this. You probably do. Now, this is where everybody gets romantic about training for endurance stuff. They're like, no, I just need to go out and I need to run a lot. I need to do a lot of aerobic capacity work. No, you don't. You don't need to do that. You need to take a step back and look at what happens during that aerobic work. When you're going along, Brian McKenzie talks about this. He used to train and he just run mile after mile after mile after mile and after mile every single day. His body just got to the point when he started getting older where he just couldn't keep doing that. His knees were breaking up, his body was breaking up, his ankles were wearing down, his feet were always hurting, and he stopped doing it. He started lifting more, and he started getting into more of these two and doing more of this. He did this 2 to 3 days a week and this 2 days a week, and all of a sudden he actually got faster in his ultra marathons. Now, how is that possible? If he's running less and he's doing more of this, it's because he's changing the chemistry in his body. His body is moving toward a more efficient fuel. so that he can run for further and further and further. Not only that, but he's changing how his body is responding is to the training that it's been given. If you just continually pound away at this, you're not going to get the same effect. You have to get all of it. So stability, mobility, stiffness. This should be something really that you're focusing on every day during your warm-up. This shouldn't just be something that you have to get 6 minutes of this every day. But let's say we're going to devote 1 day to this, so one day per week that we're gonna focus entirely on that. Really, you might do more of it, depending on the person, depending on your age. So we have 2 to 3 days of the strength, power, speed, and we have 1 to 3 days of the alactic glycolytic. We have 1 to 3 days of aerobic capacity where you're just going for long distance, and we have 1 day of stability, mobility, and stiffness training. Now, that seems crazy, right? That seems totally crazy. That goes very much against the typical how they do it in the traditional sense of endurance training. But if you look at the guys that are the people that are really pushing the envelope of the science stuff on this, you'll notice that they're moving more towards this, and their research and their numbers are not deniable. It is so far drastic that this is obviously the way to go. It is insane. If you can get 2 extra inches on every stride because you spent more time here, if you can become stronger, because we don't necessarily just because we got stronger doesn't mean we get bigger. We can get much stronger without getting 1 ounce of muscle or fat. So if we got a lot stronger, we can have an increased stride length, and we take less wear and tear on our joints. Not only that, if we back off of this, we also take off less wear and tear on our joints, because we can get this. We're already really good at this. So this is the other thing, residual training effect. If you go back to that, I'm going to use this in green. How would I actually stagger this back so that you're getting the most out of your event? So if your event was 6 months from now, what would we be doing? Well, depending on the person, but for most people, for starters, let's go back to this real quick. For most people, your aerobic is going to be 2 days, your alactic and glycolytic is going to be 2 days, and this is going to be 2 to 3, but let's say it's 2. So that's 6 days right there, and then 1 day here. That's the majority, the bulk of your training is going to be something around like that. All right, so what about when we start getting closer to the event? Well, closer to the event, this is what I think a lot of people mess up on. Closer to the event, I would completely stop all endurance activity 14 days out. 14 days out, and you could even go to 20. 14 days out, we're completely done, because this number will not go up or down. Your capacity, your aerobic capacity will not change in a 14-day period. So we back that off completely so that we can increase our recovery, because we want to be completely recovered when we hit our event. So 14 to 20 days out, we completely stop all aerobic activity. All right, this, about 12 days out, we stop. We stop doing these. About 12 days out, we completely stop. I say you could probably push it to 10 and be fine. So we've got 14 to 20, we got 10 to 12 days. We completely stop all alactic and glycolytic activity. And so we stop all of our metabolics, and we focus on this. So about 2 days out, 2 to 3 days out, so let's say 3 days out, we completely stop doing all strength, power, and speed work 3 days out. No more. All right, so what I really mean there is I want at least 2 days, I want at least 48 hours, which we can probably back up to about 72 before your event, that all we're doing is focusing on right here. And we're putting all of our focus over there on the recovery, on the stability, the mobility, and the stiffness, so that you can be completely recovered for your event. Okay, 2 days out, we stop here. We continue to do this the final 2 days. We don't do anything here after 20 days. This is the thing, I see this with professional athletes, is that 2 days before their event, whatever that event is, they'll go out for a jog, like a 20-minute jog. It's like, don't do that. You just took away from your ability to do your sport. Don't do that. 20 days out, you're completely done. You are shut down. 10 days out, you don't get to do any more of this. About 3 days out, you're done with all your strength, power, and speed stuff. And then all you're doing, maybe you go in and each of the 2 days before your event, you do your warm-up 3 times and you do some skill work and you leave it at home. But that's what I would do. This is how we would use the MovStong Matrix to design a program for an endurance athlete, and this is how we would set it up. And then everything past this, everything that I've shown here, we would definitely tailor it to the individual. Like, what are the exercises that they do? Well, that's completely dependent on the person. And how we do their sets and reps, what are they actually focusing on? I think the big thing that people, they do way too much here, they don't do enough here, and they leave this out completely thinking, oh gosh, I can't get bigger. Like, what would speed help me in an endurance race? You'd be amazed how much just a little bit of this will progress you. It's amazing. And then 2 days out, we're going to do that. But that's how I would use the MovStong Matrix for an endurance athlete. Hope you guys got something out of that into my presentation. Otherwise, make sure that you're signed up for the Grit Gym Float. It's August 21st. I think it'll be really fun. We're excited about it. Anyway, this is how I would set up an endurance athlete. It wouldn't matter. Swimming, triathlons, cycling, it wouldn't matter. This is very conceptual stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, share. And if you guys could, if you know an endurance athlete, please share this privately with them and ask them to watch it, because this is something that it can save their joints, it can save their recovery, it can save their mind, because you're not all stressed out. Remember, you cannot overtrain, you cannot overwork, you can only under-recover and under-rest. So this is a way to work much, much smarter without working so much harder that it takes away from what you're actually trying to do. Anyway, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.